What is going on, everybody? It's Franz, and we're here for a Smackdown Live review for August 13th, 2019. The fallout from Smackdown's portion of SummerSlam, we had a six-man tag match in our main event. Buddy Murphy versus Roman Reigns, and what was probably Roman's best match in a long time. And Buddy Murphy looked like a motherfucking star in the making, or somebody that WWE should be taking seriously. And somebody, after they do whatever they're going to do with Nakamura and Ali, I would love to see Ali win the Intercontinental title and then him and Buddy Murphy go into a nice 3-4 month feud over that championship. We also had Ember Moon and Charlotte for whatever reason. And yes, unfortunately, Shane McMahon was on SmackDown Live, even though he lost on Sunday night. So, what are we going to do with Shane McMahon? Nothing. Nothing's going to change. Shane McMahon is just going to be that piece of shit that we always see, and it just gets so goddamn annoying that we have to listen to Shane McMahon still. Let's see what else we had here. We had Samoa Joe over in the Wild Card Rule, taking on Kevin Owens. We had the Revival over in the Wild Card Rule in that main event six-man tag match. Can we get rid of the Wild Card Rule, please? I think, from what I've heard and what people have talked about, the Wild Card Rule is only going to be lasting until we get to October. I hope it ends soon. The Wild Card Rule is getting way too out of hand. They don't even mention the Wild Card Rule anymore, except for in passing once in a while. The Wild Card Rule was a dumb idea in the first place. Honestly, I think Vince McMahon came up with it that night during Monday Night Raw when he was in the ring with Roman Reigns, Kofi Kingston, and I believe Daniel Bryan. He just, right on the top of his head, was like, Wild Card Rule. And it's just getting out of hand, and it has to stop. So, let's see. I think that's not much else really happened tonight's show. I mean, the King of the Ring was hyped up by Kevin Owens, which I will give Kevin Owens credit in his opening promo, is that he reiterated what the importance of the King of the Ring tournament has been to superstars like a Bret Hart, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Triple H, Brock Lesnar, Edge. Let me think here. Anyone else that I can think of? Owen Hart as well. Just all these men who've gone and done King of the Ring. Of course, after the pay-per-view ended in 2002, we got the King of the Ring as a event that happens just on a whim. William Regal won in. I think he won the job for Raw GM. Got suspended and ended up losing that GM job. Sheamus won the King of the Ring the next time after that, and then Wade Barrett won it in 2015. All three Kings of the Ring that have happened after the pay-per-view have ended have gone absolutely nowhere. Unfortunately, I have seen the list of 16. I'll go over the entire list of 16 on Unscripted this coming Saturday. The very first thing we talk about after Raw, SmackDown, and NXT look-backs on the week. And quite honestly, there's a lot of good talent in the King of the Ring this year. I will have to say that. Not everybody I would like to see in the King of the Ring, but there was a lot of good talent in this edition of King of the Ring that should make this tournament actually watchable. From Drew McIntyre and Cedric Alexander last night on Raw to Buddy Murphy putting on a great star-making performance, which I hope he wins at least his first round match. And matches like Drew McIntyre versus Cedric Alexander and Roman Reigns versus Buddy Murphy. I know Roman's not in the King of the Ring. I'm surprised Roman's not in King of the Ring, but they're doing this whole whodunit storyline. Or Roman Reigns would probably be in King of the Ring, and it would be obvious who was winning it. Yet, those two matches in particular just tells me that is going to. I hope to see matches like that for King of the Ring this year. Now, I'm going to have to say this because it is the Aftermath show coming up on NXT. There are two matches on NXT this week. I don't think these two matches for NXT this week are going to top Drew McIntyre versus Cedric Alexander and Buddy Murphy versus Roman Reigns, and I don't think I have ever said that before. WWE Raw and SmackDown is probably going to have the two best matches of the week. Honestly, in my opinion, the Breakout Tournament is a great thing on NXT to see guys that we haven't seen at all, who've just been signed or been down in the Performance Center for a while, getting to show themselves on the NXT TV. But in my opinion, the breakout tournament showed that these these guys who are in this tournament probably there's a reason why they're not on NXT television, because honestly, nothing other than Dexter Lumis's presence in the breakout tournament when he came out to his entrance and his athleticism, not much really has impressed me with the breakout tournament. So the finals coming up in Breezango versus the Forgotten Sons. I honestly I don't think either one of those matches, I could be totally wrong, but I don't think either one of those matches are going to outdo what we saw on Raw and SmackDown this week. And that is something that I don't think I would have ever said 6 months ago. Just saying. So that's just how good Alexander and McIntyre was, and how good Roman and Buddy Murphy was. The rest of SmackDown Live, the matches were so-so, whatever. But when we see matches like Alexander and McIntyre, Reigns and Murphy, just shows that there is hope that when we get to the King of the Ring next week, we're going to see matches like that. And King of the Ring, I'm hoping, is actually taken seriously by the company. I want this to be an awesome event, an awesome thing. And yes, the King of the Ring is going to go from now until Clash of Champions. The Clash of Champions is going to be the finals of the King of the Ring, and rightfully so. All titles are going to be on the line, so I don't expect to see any other non-title matches and I guess the King of the Ring is a title. So I expect that would be the King of the Ring. That should be the match, in my opinion, that opens Clash of Champions, the finals of the King of the Ring, not the pre-show, the main card. Owens comes to the ring as fans cheer him on. Owens says Monday marked his 5 years since he signed his WWE contract. He created memories he will never forget in those 5 years. Owens goes on about how he's been in the ring for some of the best in the industry, men that he has looked up to before he got signed here. By the way, this was really interesting because on my PlayStation account, back in 2009, when about a year after I got my PSN account, I bought an episode of Ring of Honor from HDNet that was on the PSN store. That was from 2009, and one of the matches, they were showing highlights of when I think it was the American Wolves, Davey Richards and Eddie Edwards beat El Generico and Kevin Steen. And I just looked at that highlights and I'm like, holy shit, just what Kevin Owens looked like back then, and Generico, who is Sami Zayn, too. I was like, holy shit, what they looked like back then to now is just night and it's just wow. Anyway, he said at SummerSlam he was in the ring with someone who calls himself the best in the world, and while that's as far from reality as it can be, it was a night he will never forget for a number of reasons. One, his family was at ringside, his wife, his kids, his mom, his dad, I believe he said too. Sharing the experience with him and watching him kick Shane's ass, and that's exactly what he did, but that was not the only place where I kicked. That's not, like, Shane's ass was not the only thing that I kicked, making a joke at the fact that he kicked him. He sent him to Dick Kick City. Which I know I know Brian Zane, don't yell at me, I'm just using it because I can. He will remember the most is hitting Shane with the stunner in the middle of the ring, and will remember that moment for the rest of his life, and he thanks the fans. He says now that he's done with Shane, he has his eyes on the King of the Ring. Owen says he has been a WWE fan all his life, and the King of the Ring was always what he loved watching as a kid. He is thrilled King of the Ring is returning, and is thrilled to be one of the participants this year. Owen says winning the King of the Ring tournament would mean just as much as him as any title he has won. He talks about Hall of Famers Steve Austin, Kurt Angle, Edge, Bret Hart, Owen Hart, who should be a Hall of Famer, but let's not go there, and many, many others. Let's not talk about Billy Gunn because I think that was a mistake. Owens goes on about the music and goes on, but out comes, unfortunately, Shane McMahon, and Kevin Owens is so frustrated with Shane McMahon still showing up that he drops to one knee. He drops to his knees and just gets down and puts his hands over his head in frustration that, again, I have to listen and deal with Shane McMahon. Yes, this is still going on. It came out that supposedly this entire feud with Shane McMahon and Kevin Owens was supposed to be phasing Shane McMahon out. We were going to be done with Shane McMahon after SummerSlam. That was a bullshit lie because Shane McMahon is still moseying on out here. There is a huge difference between Shane McMahon and his father Vince. When Kevin Owens came out last week and wanted Shane McMahon to put his career on the line, Shane said, nope. If Stone Cold Steve Austin came out and asked and told Vince McMahon that, man, I'm putting my career on the line, but I want you to do the same thing. And to prove that you're a man, you will do that. And Vince McMahon would actually put his career on the line, lose the match, and be gone for a while, which he did a time or two in the Attitude Era. Shane McMahon just shows that he's nothing but a fucking coward, and is never going to be anything like his father. Owen asks Shane, why are you out here? Shane says that it must be a moment for Owens, touting his tainted win at SummerSlam in the King of the Ring spot. Shane goes on, but we get the nice and glorious asshole chance. There was about 10,000 fans in that arena. I know they're doing the whole Stone Cold Steve Austin comparisons, Austin McMahon comparisons to Shane McMahon and Owens. I was waiting for for Kevin Owens to say, Shane, I think you hear about 10,000 fans in here calling you an asshole, which is like something that Stone Cold Steve Austin would say to Vince McMahon back in the day. Shane says the fans shouldn't be calling Kevin Owens that, but he understands where they're coming from. Shane calls for the footage to be played that will show a low life, like how much of a low life Kevin Owens really is. We see still shots from SummerSlam, including the low blow kick at the end of the match. Fans, of course, with the "You deserve it" chants, which yes, he deserved that blow. Now Shane asks Owens if that's what he calls competition, if that's what it makes him a man. He says, Shane, I'm not going to take advice about being a man from someone who is who is a part of something known as the Mean Street Posse. Owens says he did whatever it took to win, especially with his job on the line. Says he has been standing up for what he believes in for the last few weeks, and this time he shut Shane's stupid face up. Shane says Owen isn't a real man. He's a low life and will always be known as a cheater. Who gives a fuck? He's a guy who's been a heel most of his career in WWE. He's going to be known as a guy who takes the easy way out. You do the same thing, Shane McMahon, so that's kind of stupid. Shane goes on about him being a cheater and have to deal with it for the rest of his life. Owen shouldn't be here. He should be in the unemployment line. Shane wants to walk down there and beat the crap out of Owen. Owen says he's got his fighting boots on, but Shane says, I'm holding myself back and don't want to soil his hands tonight. Shane says he will be in competition, and I'll let you know a little bit later who that's going to be. But what else happened there was what you did to the enforcer, Elias. And what was Elias wearing when you did what you did? He was wearing, and he said, an official WWE referee jersey. I had never heard anyone ever call it a referee jersey. A referee shirt, but not a jersey. That was weird. And he says Elias has been so traumatized they gave him the night off. And we had 24/7 garbage tonight. Oh my god, I was wondering why the show felt a little bit better. We didn't have to deal with Drake Maverick, we didn't have to deal with R-Truth, Carmella, or Elias, and all this 24/7 garbage. Shane says Owens was hitting Elias with malice, but Elias was wearing an actual referee jersey. He was an official at the time. Shane says WWE has to protect their officials, and he's been thinking about what needs to happen and to ensure everyone is safe, and specifically the officials. There will be heavy repercussions for what you did. He takes a while to get to the point. A boring chant breaks out because, yes, Shane McMahon is fucking boring. And again, we have to go through a 20-minute long-winded Shane McMahon promo. And he is going to announce a $100,000 US dollar fine to Owens for the attack on Elias. Owens says $100,000 might be nothing to Shane, but it's a lot to Owens, his family. It's a down payment on a car, it's college money for his family, it's everything else like that. And yes, $100,000 to McMahon is like pocket change. That's what that is. He says he consider this fine. Owen says if Shane is a man, he will reconsider this fine because it's crap. Shane thinks about it, and honestly, I thought he was going to be, you know what, you're right. That's going to be $200,000. Want to go more? $300,000. $400,000. But now he's like, nope, and walks away. Of course, Kevin Owens is not happy, so he exits the ring, and he marches up the ramp with a purpose. Like, he wants to go rip Shane a new one. Later in the night, it'll be the Revival versus Big E and Xavier Woods in a non-title match. Tom says, sorry, Superstars of Revival isn't happy with how Big E and Woods have carried themselves on SmackDown Tag Team Champions. Also, the Reigns versus Buddy Murphy match. But before that, we get Ember Moon versus Charlotte. Before we get that, of course, Kevin Owens confronts Shane backstage in his office. Shane says he's an official and not a competitor, and if he will fine and sue Owens for everything he has if he lays a hand on him. He won't change his mind on the fine, and Owens says, let's make it $105,000. He picks up a stool and slams it through Shane's TV and walks off. I'm pretty sure that flat screen TV was not $5,000. There's like, unless that was a 8K TV, I don't think 4K TVs are even $5,000. And that one didn't look like it was more than maybe $1,000, if that. Ember Moon versus Charlotte Flair. This match happened a couple weeks ago before SummerSlam. It was Ember Moon versus Charlotte. This was back before the no wrestling during commercials was still a thing. And Bayley came out, distracted Charlotte Flair for whatever reason, and Ember Moon picked up the win in about 66 seconds. Fortunately, this match lasted a lot longer, with a different result, as you all kind of figured. Ember Moon challenged for the WWE SmackDown Live Women's Championship at SummerSlam. Has a pretty decent match against Charlotte Flair on SmackDown, which I'm just going to have to say this. Is it just me, or has Ember Moon gotten sloppy on the main roster? The match at SummerSlam was nothing great to write home about, and it just was sloppy, slow, and it didn't mesh well. There was a bunch of botches in the beginning of this match. Ember Moon for me, just feels like she's gotten sloppy. I don't know if it's something like the confidence is down or something, but it just seems like I've seen a lot more mistakes by Ember Moon since she moved to SmackDown has been used recently than ever before. Charlotte Flair, of course, wins this one with the figure 8 after a pretty good match. Of course, Eclipse was blocked as Flair cut her off and brings her down by her hair. Charges but runs into the corner as Moon moves. Moon covers for 2. Moon keeps fighting with the offense, but Flair still kicks out. Moon and Flair trade strikes in the middle of the ring. Flair levels Moon with a big boot to the face, and Flair applies the figure 4 in the figure 8 for the tap out. What does this lead to? Apparently, obviously, Charlotte Flair is going to get her 10th reign at Clash of Champions. She beats and conquered Trish Stratus. What else is she going to do? She's going to face Bayley at Clash of Champions, and she's going to be your new SmackDown Live Women's Champion. She'll keep it for she'll probably keep it for about 2 weeks, and then she'll lose it back to Bayley or to somebody else because they need to get her number up. They pretty much want Charlotte Flair to have 17 title reigns before Ric Flair passes away. Plain and simple. That is the God-honest truth, is that they're trying to get that number up. So Charlotte Flair, in half the time her father did it, will be a 17-time champion before her dad bites the dust. That is all they're doing. Rowan and Daniel Bryan walking backstage. They are here to talk, and they come out after the break to talk about what happened last week with Buddy Murphy. And on Sunday, where Buddy Murphy was destroyed by Rowan during his match with Apollo Crews. Bryan says there's no question that someone is out to get Roman Reigns, but they had nothing to do with it, either attack attempts, despite Murphy falsely accusing Rowan and accusing Bryan by association. They had nothing to do with it, and Murphy is a liar. He does not blame Murphy because all of you, every single one of you, everybody watching at home, everybody in the stands, every single one of you, would lie, would cave, would tell Roman to his face and make something up just to get that forearm out of your throats. And honestly, that is the exact goddamn truth. If somebody like Roman Reigns' size had tried to get questions out of you, an answer out of you, and had his forearm in your throat, he is going to tell you, you're going to tell him something just to get him off of you. That is exactly where this is going. Brian says Murphy has to give up a name, but the problem is he gave up the wrong name, and the fans start chanting, "It was you." A yes chant. Brian starts shouting, "You think it was me? You think it was me and Rowan?" And the fans start chanting, "Yes." That's what is wrong with all of these fans, and what is wrong with society. Someone tells a lie, it gets spread on social media, and now it becomes the truth. Hey, truth hurts, don't it, people? Because that's absolutely 100% true. That's like that Epstein guy who the government wants to say killed himself in jail. Everybody fucking knows that wasn't a suicide. That motherfucker got murdered. Everyone knows it. Brian hates to disappoint, but he and Rowan had nothing to do with the incident, and tonight they will prove it. Drops the mic, heads to the back, and that was that. That would not be the last time we see them tonight. Oh boy, another Shane McMahon promo, because Shane McMahon has to have his way on TV. When is Vince McMahon going to finally say enough is enough? Shane McMahon brings nothing to these programs. Shane McMahon lost at SummerSlam, lost in Extreme Rules, and yet is still here. Get Shane McMahon off TV. We hardly see Triple H unless it's reunion. We don't see Stephanie McMahon unless it's some kind of reunion or something else. We don't see Vince McMahon unless they're in panic mode. Why do we have to see Shane McMahon? These shows don't need a McMahon right now. She asked him who's Kevin Owens going to face tonight, and before he has a chance to say anything, Samoa Joe shows up beside him and he just points to him. So Joe says he heard Owens is walking back in like a badass tonight, but the only badass around here is me. Shane likes this and tells Sarah that Joe will teach Owens a lesson tonight and show him that you have to respect authority. That was that. So Samoa Joe versus Kevin Owens later in the night. Back from break, and we see another Aleister Black cryptic promo. I am over these cryptic promos. Get this guy in the ring. Why is he waiting for somebody to knock on his door? Why isn't he going to somebody's locker room, knocking on that door, and picking a fight with them? Why are we doing this still? I'm getting a headache just trying to wonder why we are doing this still. He did it for weeks upon weeks, about a month and a half of him just sitting there, wanting somebody to pick a fight with him. They kept him off SummerSlam because of time constraints, I guess, even though they ended at half an hour early. They had, I'm just so, I can't even. I am done with the Aleister Black stuff. Aleister Black was great in NXT. Aleister Black and Ricochet was good as a tag team. I don't like this Aleister Black. Get this guy in the ring, or put him back in NXT where they know how to fucking use him, and don't have that when he makes his entrance. Roman Reigns versus Buddy Murphy. This was an excellent match. Everyone's like, "Oh, Buddy Murphy better give a pint to buy one for Roman tonight because he made him look like a star." Motherfuckers, Roman Reigns did his part, but fucking Buddy Murphy was a star on his own. So, Buddy Murphy and Roman Reigns. This was Roman's best match all year, plain and simple. This was Roman Reigns' best one-on-one match, or probably best match overall. None of that bullshit with the Shield. That stuff was all just like smoke and mirrors, how people thought that was a good match. There were so many times in this match you had a couple false finishes that you thought Buddy Murphy was actually going to beat Roman Reigns, but we all knew how this was going to go. Honestly, I didn't think this was going to have a conclusive finish, for the simple fact is they're still doing this, who's attacking Roman. I would have expected when Roman's going for the spear, the lights go down, lights come back on, guy in them, we have somebody in a full black bodysuit, black mask on, we don't know what it is, who attacks Roman Reigns, makes it seem insinuate that it's this person by using their finisher, but it's not that person. Lights go back out, lights go back on, and that person's gone. We don't know who attacked him, and that would have been that. But no, Roman Reigns ends up winning this match. Buddy Murphy, if you were questioning who's this Buddy Murphy guy, he showed you tonight that he can hang with the likes of Roman Reigns, the likes of a Seth Rollins, the likes of a AJ Styles, the likes of a Ricochet, the likes of Samoa Joe. He put on the match of his career tonight. Yes, he might have come out on the losing end, but he won. Like Buddy Murphy won in the end because he went out there and put his life on, like put his entire blood, sweat, and tears on the line in this match, and it was fucking fantastic. I cannot do this match justice by even trying to commentate on it or anything. You need to check this match out because the two matches of this week that you need to see is Alexander versus McIntyre and Murphy versus Reigns. If these matches, even though Roman's not in the King of the Ring, if this is what we're getting for most of the King of the Ring, sign me up. Kelly Braxton is backstage with the Revival, Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder. She asked them why they challenged the New Day. They mentioned the WWE title 24/7 joke reign on Raw last night and said they realized it was a slap in their face and a slap in the tag team division's face. They knocked the New Day as the class clowns of WWE, which they have been, saying they are ruining tag team wrestling. I don't know about that. When they had the best tag team rivalry with the Usos in 2017, did everybody forget about that? They will show tonight why the New Day has never defeated the Revival and show what the Revival thinks about a punchline, and they walk off. Yes, they had one match. I believe the Revival faced the New Day in the Revival's debut on the main roster after they got called up from NXT. They won that match, and then I believe Scott Dawson got hurt, and they were gone for a while. Then Dash Wilder got hurt, and they still went back. So, yeah. So the Revival versus the New Day was supposed to be your main event tonight. Back from break, the New Day is backstage. Xavier Woods is down about not being in the King of the Ring tournament, because if you know Xavier Woods at all on Up, Down, Down, anytime he has a chance to talk about it, he's always wanted to bring back the King of the Ring. He loved the King of the Ring when he was a child, when he was young. He wants the King of the Ring to come back as a more permanent thing, and to not be in the King of the Ring is probably heartbreaking for a guy like Xavier Woods, who wanted the King of the Ring so goddamn badly. But Kelly Braxton appears and asks about the Revival comments, and they are ruining the tag team division. They're not ruining the division, according to Big E. They said they have ruined nothing. They only handle business. Big E mentions how Kofi handles business against Randy Orton at SummerSlam. Not really, because it was a double countout. Kelly asked Kofi about his kendo stick attack on Orton, and Kofi said, some people think he overreacted, but Orton looked at his family the wrong way, and he would do it all over again. So a guy looks at your family, just stares at them, and you attack them. It would have been something if it would have been like Samoa Joe last year, who took a mic and said, I'll be your new daddy. That was warranted. This just, it didn't, like honestly, I swear, it felt like the referee counted way fast in that 10 count just to get it over with. Anyway. Kofi said it's all about family first, and tonight he will be there to support his family as they remain behind the Revival while they are the champs. Samoa Joe versus Kevin Owens. This match was an absolute fucking joke. Shane McMahon decides to make Elias, who was supposed to be gone by the fucking way, who was supposed to be gone because he was so traumatized for what happened at SummerSlam, but, oh, wait. He's here. He's here wearing a referee shirt. He's here to be the outside enforcer in this match. How do you think that went? Referee gets pulled out. Referee is dead on the outside. Elias comes in. 1, 2, 3, and Samoa Joe wins. I am over everything that has to do with Shane McMahon. They need, like, we're going into October soon, and we're still pushing Shane McMahon as one of your top heels. Are you fucking kidding me? The SummerSlam match should have been the loser has to leave WWE forever. Of course, with this being WWE, forever is about maybe a month. But still, you could have taken Shane McMahon off of television. But no, you didn't fucking do that, did you? No, you didn't. Why? Because we're a bunch of fucking assholes who don't care about our fans and the fucking fandom, who sit here and dedicate and watch this show week in and week out, who have to suffer through a long boring Shane McMahon promo week in and week out. Shane McMahon being in 20 segments week in and week out. It's absolutely fucking ridiculous. That's taking time away from an Ali. Haven't seen an Ali promo in a bit. Where the hell is Shinsuke Nakamura? Finn Balor, of course, is off doing his excursion back to home. I believe he's getting married, so good to him. But I'm just so over the entirety of this shit. I'm tired of it. Just absolutely tired of it. Daniel Bryan and Rowan are backstage. They enter the men's locker room and tell everyone to get out except for Murphy. Rowan forces Murphy to have a seat. Bryan says they know Murphy died, and he said he saw Rowan near the forklift accident. Bryan tells Murphy to go ahead and tell everyone he lied. But Bryan repeats himself a few times, but Murphy stays silent. Bryan asks Murphy if he sees the damage he's done to the reputation of Rowan, and Bryan tells him he's going to admit how he lied, and Rowan attacks Murphy and manhandles him around the locker room as Bryan rants about how Murphy needs to admit what he's done. Rowan pins Murphy against the wall as Bryan yells at him, and Murphy says, okay, but Bryan wants to hear him say he lied. Murphy finally starts yelling that he lied. Rowan lets go, and he falls to the floor. Bryan calms down and says he really just hates liars. Rowan tosses Murphy across the room. One more time, we go to commercial break. So, you had Buddy Murphy go out on this particular night, give you one of the best matches of the fucking year, next to the original, one of the first matches of the year, which was Rey Mysterio versus Andrade, back in January or February, when they had those two excellent matches on SmackDown. And then you have this guy get punked out again 2 weeks in a row on SmackDown. Give me a fucking break, man. Just, the only way you make up for this is that you have Buddy Murphy versus Rowan next week, and Buddy Murphy wins clean. Clean as a whistle. This guy has to get some kind of payback on Daniel Bryan and Rowan. Just has to. New Day versus the Revival. This match never got started because Randy Orton came out and called Kofi Kingston a coward. Said he took the coward's way out at SummerSlam in front of his wife, his kids. His kids are going to get older and they're going to ask their daddy, why did you take the easy way out? Why didn't you why did you take care of business against that big, bad, scary Randy Orton? And you're going to have to tell them that you could not beat Randy Orton. Randy Orton wants one more shot at Kofi Kingston at pretty much Clash of Champions, which I know that's where we're going. Instead of it being a cheerleader on the sideline tonight, it looks like we're going to get a six-man tag match as we go to commercial break, and it's Randy Orton and the Revival versus the New Day. Good match here, good six-man tag match. Randy Orton and Kofi Kingston look to start off, but he tagged out immediately, typical heel fashion. Match ends with a Shadow Machine on Xavier Woods, who's been taking the pinfalls for the New Day lately, which is fine. And that was the end of that match, but that was not the end of the show, as before we get to the final segment of the show, Revival's music hits, they stand tall, they suddenly attack Big E, who's checking on Woods as they're still down in the middle of the ring. Kofi leaps in to prevent a further damage, taking Dash down and hitting the Trouble in Paradise on Dawson. Orton with an RKO out of nowhere lifts Kofi head up and looks to say something to him. He drops it back to the mat and looks over at Xavier Woods. Fans are chanting one more time, one more time. He grabs Woods and the referee tries to get him to stop and drops Woods with an RKO. He goes back over to Kofi, looks over at Big E. The Revival get back in, pick up Big E because he is a bigger dude, and I'm sure Orton would have needed a little bit of help because he would have been dead weight. Hits him with an RKO. Orton, incensed at Kofi Kingston, picks him up and delivers an RKO so emphatic that it reminds me of the one that started this all. The RKO in 2009 that started this all, where he hit him with that RKO after he would not stay down to take a punt kick, and then Orton said stupid 3 times. It looked almost as devastating as that RKO. So yes, we're getting Randy Orton versus Kofi at Clash of Champions. I fully expect Kofi Kingston to be losing the WWE Championship soon. If he does not, I have a feeling the reason the OCs were brought back together was because at Survivor Series, I know that's a long way to go, Kofi Kingston and the New Day, Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, and Big E will be taking on the OCs of Gallows, Anderson, and AJ Styles, the Tag Team Champions versus the Tag Team Champions, the United States Champion or Universal Champion by that time, versus the WWE Champion. Now, when we get to Unscripted this Saturday, we'll talk about what WWE's current plan is for Clash of Champions, and you might be shocked what they're going to go with. But before the end of the show was over, that happened, and we cut backstage to Daniel Bryan and Rowan in their locker room. Bryan and Rowan are talking in the locker room when Roman Reigns walks in, and Bryan says, "About time, we've been waiting for you." Bryan gets in with Reigns, face with Rowan backing him up. Bryan tells Reigns to go ahead and apologize for being wrong about Rowan. Reigns just shakes his head and looks like he might want to fight. Bryan warns him and says if he turns into a melee and Reigns gets hurt, he and Rowan have been conducting their own investigation and they found out who was behind the attacks. And next week, they will bring him the culprit. Rowan stares Bryan and Rowan down as SmackDown goes off the air. Now the question is, who could have been that guy? Could it be a NXT superstar? Could it be a guy who hasn't been used much? We don't know. I could fully see if they wanted to bring the Undisputed Era up, this could be a way to bring Adam Cole or one of the Undisputed Era, if not all the Undisputed Era up. Maybe they bring Johnny Gargano up and turn him fucking heel like a bunch of idiots. I don't know. I'm hoping to hear something before we get to Saturday's Unscripted, or Sunday's Unscripted. Unscripted goes up Sundays now, because SmackDown's going in October, and I might as well just adjust to it now. But there are so many names that you could probably name that could be behind this attack, and because the wildcard rule is a thing, it could be someone from Raw, it could be someone from SmackDown. I'm going to say it's probably somebody from NXT who has not been seen yet, and I could not guess who that actually could be. We'll have to wait and see. They said next week they're going to bring the culprit, and that culprit will be whoever Roman Reigns faces at the next pay-per-view, Clash of Champions, even though, as I said, the only match, I guess that would be the only match that's not for something. But SmackDown Live, not a bad show, not a great show. It was an okay show. We're still not anywhere near what we were 2 years ago or 3 years ago when SmackDown was just starting out as SmackDown Live and SmackDown was hitting its stride as a really damn good show. But SmackDown, give me more matches like Roman versus Buddy Murphy. Give me more guys to invest in like a Kevin Owens. Give me more of that and these shows will improve. Don't have stupid shit like you've had before. This whole entire who done it with Roman, yes, people are invested in it. Don't fuck it up. Don't bring up somebody from NXT like somebody who's not really using NXT that they're just going to use just for the hell of it. Don't make it somebody obvious. Make it somebody who's going to be have a star-making performance like a Buddy Murphy. I was really afraid that when they said Buddy Murphy versus Roman Reigns tonight, that Buddy Murphy was going to go in there, get squashed, and that was it for Buddy Murphy. But tonight, you got to see Buddy Murphy show you why he is SmackDown Live's best-kept secret. I'm going to get out of here. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. Find me on Twitch and Twitter at The France Club. And I will be here tomorrow for the first Aftermath show I have done in a good while, because we do have the Breakout Tournament Finals. I want to give my thoughts on what title the winner might go for, and the Forgotten Sons versus Breezango. But I want to see how Fandango and Tyler Breeze and Fandango are booked in NXT as a tag team compared to what they did on the main roster. But I'm going to get out of here. You guys have a good one. Again, hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video, and I will see you guys tomorrow for NXT and Sunday for Unscripted.